Hi GPT, how's it going?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? Any interesting ideas or thoughts buzzing in your mind today?
Yes, I am researching about
Hi, Lisa. It's nice to meet you. What's on your mind today?
I am today I researched about logistic industry and
それは興味深いですね。ロジスティックインダストリーのどんな部分について研究したんですか？例えば、サプライチェーンの最適化とか、新しいテクノロジーの導入とか。
I researched about how to solve the shortage of human resource.
That's a crucial topic. Did you explore solutions like automation, AI integration, or improving employee retention strategies? What
Yeah.
stood out to you the most?
Yes. So I wanna share about a part of it. So could you listen?
Of course, I'm all ears. Please go ahead and share what you found.
First of all, the flow in warehouse is divided into 6 categories.
Got it. What are the 6 categories? I'm curious to hear how they structure the workflow in a warehouse.
First is 入荷って英語でなんていうの？入荷ってなんていうんだっけ？
入荷は英語で incoming shipment や receiving と表現します。例えば、入荷プロセスは receiving process と言えます。
First receiving, second checking the package, third store the package in warehouse, fourth picking, fifth 梱包って英語でなんていうの？
You're describing the flow well. Here's how you can refine it in English. 1. Receiving. 2. Checking the package. 3. Storing the package in the warehouse. It seems like you're describing steps, but there might be a missing 4th and 5th step. Could you clarify or add details for the remaining steps? I'd love to help you complete it.
Fourth step is picking. Fifth step I cannot say in English, but it is said in Japanese. 梱包. How do you say 梱包 in English?
I see. In English, compo would translate to packing or packaging, depending on the context. So your 5 steps would be 1. Receiving. 2. Checking the package. 3. Storing the package in the warehouse. 4. Picking. 5. Packing. Does that match what you had in mind?
Yes. Finally, shipping.
Perfect. So the full flow would be 1. Receiving. 2. Checking the package. 3. Storing the package in the warehouse. 4. Picking. 5. Packing. 6. Shipping. That's a solid workflow for warehouse operations. Great job laying it out. Did anything stand out to you during your research?
人件費って英語でなんて言うんだっけ？
人件費は英語で labor cost または
そうだ。
personal costs と言います。例えば、人件費を削減するなら reduce labor costs と表現できます。 文脈に応じて使い分けるといいですね。
50% of labor cost is storing package in the warehouse and picking.
You're almost there. Here's a more natural way to phrase it. 50% of the labor cost is for storing packages in the warehouse, and the other 50% is for picking. This sounds smooth and clear. Does it match what you wanted to express?
50% of labor cost is storing in warehouse and picking.
Here's a clearer version of your sentence. 50% of the labor cost goes to storing packages in the warehouse, and the other 50% to picking. This makes it grammatically correct and easy to understand. Let me know if you'd like further tweaks.
格納とピッキングに人件費の55%が格納とピッキング。
格納は英語で storing または storage と表現します。ピッキングはそのまま picking と言います。なので格納とピッキングは storing and picking になります。例えば、格納とピッキングに人件費がかかるなら、labor costs are spent on storing and picking と言えますね。問題が発生しています。お話の内容を理解できませんでした。
55% の人件費が格納とピッキングに使われてるって英語でなんて言うの
？55% of the labor cost is spent on storing and picking. こんな感じで表現できます。シンプルでわかりやすいですよね。
もう一回。
55% of the labor costs are spent on storing and picking. これでバッチリです。複数形のコストスを使うことでより自然な表現になります。
55% of labor costs are spent on storing in warehouse and picking.
Almost perfect. Here's a slightly more polished version. 55% of the labor costs are spent on storing packages in the warehouse and picking them. This version is grammatically correct and sounds natural. Let me know if you'd like further adjustments.
What is the difference? I cannot understand that.
Great question. Let me break it down. 1. Labor cost versus labor costs. Labor cost, singular, refers to the total expense for labor as one single amount. Labor costs, plural, refers to individual components or categories of expenses within the total labor expense, like wages, overtime, or benefits. In your context, labor costs is better because you're discussing how the costs are divided into activities like storing and picking. 2. Picking up versus picking. Picking up usually means physically lifting or collecting something, e.g., picking up a box. Picking is a specific warehouse term for selecting items from storage to fulfill an order. In this case, picking is the correct term because you're talking about the warehouse process. Does that help clear up the difference? Let me know if you'd like further clarification.
55% of labor costs are spent on storing in warehouse and picking.
Your sentence is almost correct, but here's the refined version. 55% of the labor costs are spent on storing packages in the warehouse and picking. The key corrections. 1. Labor cost, labor costs. Use plural because you're referring to multiple aspects of labor expenses. 2. Are spent. This part stays correct. 3. picking. This term is
Picking.
perfect for describing the warehouse process. This version is grammatically accurate and sounds natural. You're doing great.
Add to this, workload in warehouse, the most time spent on in the workload of warehouse is walking.
Here's a clearer and more natural way to phrase your sentence. Regarding the workload in the warehouse, most of the time is spent on working tasks. Or, if you want to be specific about the type of work, regarding the workload in the warehouse, most of the time is spent on storing and picking tasks. Let me know if this fits your idea.
出荷作業のうちの 60% が歩行の時間になっていますって英語でなんていうの
？60% of the time spent on shipping tasks is taken up by walking. This phrasing clearly explains how a significant portion of shipping tasks involves walking. Let me know if you'd like more options.
Could you repeat again more slowly?
Of course. Here's the sentence more slowly. 60% of the time spent on shipping tasks is taken up by walking. Let me know if you need me to explain any part of it.
Could you repeat again? 60% of time spent on shipping is walking かな Is that right? Is that correct?
Not quite. Here's the corrected version. 60% of the time spent on shipping tasks is taken up by walking. The key part is walking instead of working if you're talking about movement during shipping tasks. Does that make sense?
%60 of time spent on shipping task is taking a walk.
Not quite. Here's the correct version. 60% of the time spent on shipping tasks is taken up by walking. Using taking a walk would suggest something more leisurely, like a stroll, which isn't what you mean here. Walking is the appropriate term for work-related movement.
60% of the time spent on shipping tasks is taking walking.
Fine. Your sentence is closed, but it needs a little adjustment for clarity. Here's the corrected version. 60% of the time spent on shipping tasks is taken up by working. However, if you mean walking, as in moving around the warehouse, it would be 60% of the time spent on shipping tasks is taken up by walking. Taken working isn't quite correct in this context. Let me know which meaning you're aiming for.
Taking up walking is the correct phrase. Taking up ってことちょっとあんま聞き取れなかった。Taking a walk じゃない。Taking a
残念ながら、taking nap walking というフレーズは英語としては正しくありません。このフレーズは意味が通じないため、文脈に応じて別の言い方が必要です。例えば、以下のようなフレーズが正しい可能性があります。taking a walk
そうだよね。
walking 歩く taking up time
walking
walking 時間を歩くことに費やす。ナプルという単語自体も存在しないので、意図をもう少し教えてもらえれば正しい表現をお伝えできます。
So if we wanna do digital transformation in the warehouse, we should reduce the time of walking.
Your idea is great, but let's refine the sentence for clarity. If we want to achieve digital transformation in the warehouse, we should focus on reducing the time spent on manual tasks. This way, it sounds more precise, especially if you're referring to automating or optimizing processes to save time. Does this match what you're trying to express?
If we wanna achieve digital transformation, we should reduce the time of walking. Walking じゃないもん。walking だよね。
Your sentence is clear, but here's a more polished version. If we want to achieve digital transformation, we should reduce the time spent on manual work. This phrasing makes it more specific and natural. Does that work for you?
If you want to achieve digital transformation, we should reduce the
Here's how to
time.
continue that thought naturally. If you want to achieve digital transformation, you should focus on reducing time spent on repetitive tasks and optimizing workflows. This emphasizes efficiency and modernization, which are key goals in digital transformation. Does that align with what you wanted to say?
You should reduce the time spent on walking.
Your sentence is understandable, but here's a smoother way to say it. You should reduce the time spent on tasks. Using tasks instead of working makes it more specific and professional, especially in a digital transformation context. What do you think?
So here is my proposal. In the
Great. What's your proposal? I'm ready to hear it.
we should introduce robot. For example, autonomous mobile robot and goods to person.
That's a fantastic proposal. Here's a refined way to express it. We should introduce robots, such as autonomous mobile robots, AMRs, and goods-to-person systems. These technologies can greatly improve efficiency and reduce time spent on manual tasks. Are there specific benefits or examples you'd like to highlight?
Yes, AMR make it possible to introduce to the warehouse without changing the location of the 棚って英語でなんてなってる棚
Here's a refined version of your idea. AMRs make it possible to be introduced into the warehouse without requiring changes to the layout or structure. This highlights the flexibility of AMRs. Does that capture what you mean?
makes it possible to なんでやん
It seems like you meant AMRs instead of ANR. Here's the corrected sentence. AMRs make it possible to optimize warehouse operations without changing the existing layout. Let me know if you'd like further adjustments.
生産性を2倍に向上するって英語で確かproductivity can be doubled で合ってるよね。
Almost right. Here's the correct version. Productivity can be doubled. This is the most natural and accurate way to say it in English. Let me know if you'd like me to explain anything.
AMR makes it possible to productivity can be doubled. 合ってんのかな
Your sentence is almost there. Here's a polished version. AMRs make it possible to double productivity. This is more concise and grammatically correct. Great effort.
Could you repeat again?
Of course. Here it is. AMRs make it possible to double productivity. Let me know if you'd like me to explain anything.
AMR makes it possible to double the productivity.
Your sentence is correct. Here's a slightly refined version for naturalness. AMRs make it possible to double productivity. Using the is fine, but it's not always necessary in this context. Both work depending on the emphasis.
AMR makes it possible to double productivity.
It looks like you wrote AML instead of AMR. If you mean autonomous mobile robots, AMRs, the correct sentence would be AMRs make it possible to double productivity. If you do mean AML, anti-money laundering or something else, let me know so I can adjust.
AMR makes it possible to double productivity.
Yes, that's perfectly correct. AMR makes it possible to double productivity. If you're talking about multiple robots, you could say AMRs make it possible to double productivity. It depends on whether you're referring to one robot or multiple. Both work.
棚って英語になんて言うんだっけ
棚は英語で shelf または rack と言います。shelf 一般的な棚、小型や家庭用の棚に使います。rack 倉庫などで使われる大きな収納棚や頑丈な棚に使います。文脈によって使い分けるといいですね。
There are the different kind of robot. For example, the robot which carry slack.
問題が発生しています。お話の内容を理解できませんでした。
There are other robots. For example, the robot that carries luck.
Here's a refined version of your sentence. There are other robots as well. For example, robots that carry racks. If you meant something else by lock, feel free to clarify.
Could you repeat again?
Of course. Here it is. There are other robots as well. For example, robots that carry racks. Let me know if you need further clarification.
There are other robots as well. For example, the robot carries luck.
It seems like you might mean the robot carries locks or something similar.
Yeah.
Here's a corrected version. There are other robots as well. For example, robots that carry locks. Yun? If you're referring to something else, let me know, and I'll adjust it further.
在庫って英語になんて言うんだっけ？
在庫は英語で inventory と言います。例えば、在庫管理 inventory management。在庫が少ない low inventory。在庫を確認する check the inventory。倉庫や物流の話題でよく使われます。
By using this robot, the space of inventory was reduced by 40%.
Your sentence is almost perfect. Here's a slightly refined version. By using this robot, the inventory space was reduced by 40%. This makes it sound smoother and more natural. Great job.
By using this robot, inventory space.
Here's how to complete it. By using this robot, we were able to reduce inventory space by 40%. This version emphasizes the achievement and sounds polished. Does this fit what you want to say?
By using this robot, we are able to reduce inventory space 40%.
You're very close. Here's a polished version. By using this robot, we are able to reduce inventory space by 40%. Adding by before 40% makes it grammatically correct. Keep it up.
We are able to reduce inventory space by 40%.
Perfect. We are able to reduce inventory space by 40%. Is completely correct and natural. Great work.
Add to this result, we can reduce the person from 5 people to 3 people. Staff. Person to...
Here's a refined version of your sentence. In addition to this result, we can reduce the workforce from 5 people to 3. This makes it smoother and more professional. Let me know if it works.
What is the meaning of workforce in Japanese?
GPT-4 のメッセージ利用上限に達しました。後でもう一度お試しください。
はい、ということで今日はこんなところにします。